there, this is Dandelion Song with Records of the Grand Historian, and I found this article that I think you'll like about this dragon horse, and they actually call it a splendor snake or a snake dragon, and I looked up some of the phrases in this article, so I'll show you that in a minute. It's at this site, Ancient Origins, and they're selling 2 free ebooks, and they have a lot of good things in here. So I was going to have the computer read this to you, because I have the temptation to skim, so hold on a second.
The Ishtar Gate was the main entrance into the great city of Babylon.
Alright, well, it doesn't work to have your microphone on and have the computer read at the same time, so I have to fix the audio on this. So let me read this. The Ishtar Gate was the main entrance into the great city of Babylon, commissioned by King Nebuchadnezzar as part of his plan to create one of the most splendid and powerful cities of the ancient world. The discovery of the ancient gate in 1902 by the German archaeologist Robert Caldaway was met with awe, and its reconstruction in 1930 revealed its architectural splendor. But the discovery of the Gate of Ishtar revealed much more than the building accomplishments of the Babylonians. It shed light on the religious beliefs and customs of the once powerful empire of Babylon. The Ishtar Gate is so named because it was dedicated to the Babylonian goddess Ishtar, the East Semitic, Akkadian, Assyrian, and Babylonian goddess of fertility, love, war, and sex. She is the counterpart to the Sumerian Inanna and in the Babylonian pantheon. She was the divine personification of the planet Venus. Her cult was the most important one in ancient Babylon and is believed to have included temple prostitution, although this is debatable. According to the noted Assyriologist Samuel Noah Kramer, kings in ancient Near Eastern region of Sumer established their legitimacy by taking part in a ritual sexual act in the temple of the fertility goddess Ishtar every year on the 10th day of the festival Akitu.
Okay, and so we also need to keep in mind that there is distortion. This is an academic view, so I think that I would take the view of Zachariah Sitchin, who also says that she, she was not a virgin, but she had many other roles, and she also was not afraid of battle. She might have been, I didn't really see a fertility aspect of her in the ancient Anunnaki. Now here it shows that she is part Garuda. She can fly. She has the 2 rings, the same as Cernunnos has, and then we have the 2 lions. So I'm not sure if she is associated with the lion or if she's actually seen here standing on the lion in terms of, like, one is one Illuminati camp and one is another Illuminati camp. When I saw this, Queen of the Night made me think of Whitney Houston, and we've seen Madonna also play Inanna Ishtar, and maybe they're going to sacrifice Madonna, but I do think that Whitney Houston got in over her head for sure with the Illuminati. All right.
Okay, so reading on. Leading from the grand entrance of the Ishtar Gate was the processional way, a pathway lined with sculptural reliefs of lions, oryx, bulls, and dragons, in which Nebuchadnezzar paid homage to the Babylonian deities through animal representations. The lion is associated with Ishtar, according to the academics, as the goddess of war and the protector of her people. The winged Ishtar was depicted holding a bow and a quiver of arrows, riding in a chariot that was drawn by 7 lions. She was sometimes shown standing on the back of a lion or in the company of 2 lions. Okay, this is a sculptural relief of the lion along the processional way. The oryx is an extinct type of large wild cattle that inhabited Europe, Asia, and North Africa, and is the ancestor of domestic cattle. The young bulls associated with Adad, the weather god in the Babylonian pantheon, who I think is Zeus. Adad has a twofold aspect, being both the giver and the destroyer of life. His rains caused the land to bear grain and other food for his friends, which his storms and hurricanes, evidence of his anger against his foes, brought darkness, want, and death. Adad was typically represented brandishing lightning bolts or standing on or beside a bull. So I just want to point out, in the movie Jupiter Ascending, the Adad, the one who gives life and takes away life, is Abraxas, which is another name for Enoch, and that's something that we need to look at too. So, but Abraxas is confronted by the character Jupiter, who is a girl. So that's confusing because Jupiter is another name for Zeus, so that's really confusing. But this girl, I think, plays Isis, actually. So, but back to our story.
Now, I'm not sure offhand how Adad relates to what his Anunnaki name or where he falls in the Anunnaki pantheon, but he does sound a lot like Zeus, and so it does fall into the theory that these guys are still around. Only 2 years has gone by for them. They're still in charge, and Je-Zeus is the main deity of the Christian church. They think that they're worshiping Yahshua, but they are worshiping Je-Zeus, and they are saluting Ra with the Amen. I don't know how many other of their sayings, like Hallelujah and those kind of things, are corrupt, in terms of saluting or calling in the energy of somebody that they don't intend to call in. But I do intend to study that more as we go. I also wanted to say about the lion is that I need to figure out which Illuminati, which royal house are friends of the lion, and if Inanna it means to be standing on the lion, if that is a sign of support or a sign of disrespect towards the lion. So it made me think of the story recently of Cecil the lion. These are stories that are mostly communications in code between the houses of control, the dragon houses and the Illuminati houses and the top houses on the planet. And so that Cecil story is just about the lion is going down. So if we could figure out which side the lion is, that might be some useful information. And I did notice, I have done a lot of gematria on news stories, and I do believe that most of them are not actual stories. They are coded languages from one house to another, and I've run the gematria on them, and I've seen that their language is not natural, and their numbers are not the way that natural language flows. Like if you take the gematria out of a small local neighborhood newspaper and compare those keywords and that language to some of these big corporate news stories, the gematria flow is much more normal in a local newspaper. It's much more diverse and, more like, I don't know what to say, it's just more natural of a flow. And then you take these large corporate stories and they have the same numbers showing up and up and up over and over and over again. And they have unnatural ties, and just it's almost like a drumbeat of the numbers. And human beings are sensitive to the numbers. You maybe never studied gematria, but you are sensitive to the numbers. I have noticed conversation between myself and my husband in which I will be thinking something. Well, we're psychic with each other, but I will be thinking something, and he will say a statement that the words of his statement are completely unrelated to what I was thinking, but the gematria of my thought and his statement line up perfectly. And I've also noticed some of this with my kids. So to some extent, we are aware of the frequency of the gematria of the numbers. So when they make a story that has a drumbeat of numbers, that is a level of hypnotism that we are not aware of. And for example, I just am putting up a video right now of the Antioch shooting at the Mad Max movie. That one has a drumbeat in it of a 930 number, the complete triplet of the 930, and also the Mad Max movie. In their trailers, they have it on their phraseology of their trailers. They have a drumbeat of, August 5th, August 5th, August 5th, and then that's when this happened. So it gets to be, if you study this, they might just be broadcasting, this is going to happen August 5th. Stay out of a Mad Max movie on August 5th, and then only the people who understand the code know to stay away. Or maybe, maybe it really didn't happen at all. So you really have to be there. You can't rely on them having a cell phone video to say, oh, because it's a cell phone video, that makes it real. No, you really, really have to be there. You also can't listen to someone who says that they know someone who is there, because those shills and trolls are everywhere on the internet and you can't trust them. Okay, so I did do some gematria on some of these numbers, so I want to take a look at that. They have a name here. Oh, I was going to have it read this. Let me have it read this first.
All right, so I also wanted to bring up another idea that you might have this question. So if these are just messages between the houses of control of the Illuminati, why are they putting it over the big airways? Why is it in the mainstream news? Well, think of it like a tennis court where each side is hitting the ball back and forth and they're sending a message to each other. they are also accessing your quantum vote. So this is the reason why we have hypnotic embedded messages, the reason why it's on the major news, because when one side hits the ball, when they put one of these messages out to the other side, they are hypnotizing swaths of the sheep as they do so. So they are bringing the alliance of the sheep back and forth between the houses of control. And it doesn't even matter if the alliance of the sheep stays the same. Even if the sheep changes their mind, they are exercising the quantum manifestation of large groups of sheep every time they put out one of these hypnotic messages. So I know that that's a little bit of an advanced topic, because not a lot of people are ready to understand the quantum random frequency generator aspect of our world, but that is part of becoming a master of your inner and outer truth, that you would have your inner truth reflected to you at all times by the outer world, which is the quantum it's the quantum frequency, the quantum random frequency generator. All right, gonna read this next part here. Okay, so finally, the dragon Sheesh is a symbolic representation of Marduk. Well, that's good to know, isn't it? The chief god of Babylon. We still have Marduk around today, you guys. Marduk's original character is obscure, but he was later associated with water, vegetation, judgment, and magic. According to ancient mythology, Marduk defeated Tiamat, the chaos monster and primordial goddess of the ocean, who mated with the Absu, god of the freshwater, to produce the younger gods. The presence of the snake dragon has been a matter of much debate among researchers, who point out that the mythical animal was out of place next to sculptures depicting known animals, lions and bulls, that were contemporary with Babylonians. The creature, often referred to as Sheesh or Mashashu, splendor serpent, can be described as having a slender body covered with scales, a long, slender, scaly tail, and a serpent's head with a long, forked tongue. And we saw that long, forked tongue, didn't we? Robert Caldaway, who discovered the Ishtar Gate, seriously considered the notion that the Sheesh was a portrayal of a real animal. He argued that its depiction in Babylonian art was consistent over many centuries, while those of mythological creatures changed, sometimes drastically, over the years. In 1918, he proposed that the iguanodon, a dinosaur with bird-like hind feet, was the closest match to the Sheesh.
That's pretty interesting that Robert Caldaway actually thought that this was a real animal. And I'm going to look up the iguanodon. We'll look at a picture of that. And I am going to now go to the gematria that I set out for this. So this is the gematria of Sheesh. I like to do this myself, where I find the symmetry. So this is not raw gematria. This is just simple gematria, where they just add these letters up like this. And this is a really good website in case you would like to check some of these things yourself. It's gematrix.org, gematrix.org. And then they will also show you words of similar frequency. Now, our modern society has made an effort to dirty the names, to basically mix the associations with the frequencies. So if these hadn't been mixed, you would have a pretty clean association here, but you kind of have to pick through and see what it might be associated with. So the way that I do that is I kind of feel the feeling of what this word has a feeling, and then I see which words feel like they kind of match that feeling. So anyway, these right here, this first set of words has to do with the Jewish gematria. So sometimes that isn't the most helpful for me, because I mostly work with the English and the simple. So when you come down here to the English and the simple matches for Sheesh, you see Sandy Hook. So this might tell you that Sandy Hook has something to do with Marduk RA. So you could spend some time trying to look at the gematria and seeing what is going on with that. Now, Sandy Hook is very close to our line that's on the dragon eye line. So that's interesting. So I just wanted to show you how this works. Oh, it's also a match to Stonehenge. That's pretty interesting. Star Trek. Now, these are interesting because these names are picked with gematria in mind. Olympics, These are really big cultural names, and Marduk is very big. Marduk RA. Roe versus Wade. That's a very interesting lineup. So it was also known as the Splendor snake, Splendor serpent. So let's look at that. Oh, I do try to just kind of like stick these numbers in my brain if I can, so that I will notice them when they show up again. So we have an 1111 mirror here with the Splendor serpent, and we have, you know, I don't know, the numbers kind of seem they like echoes of each other. So this the Splendor serpent equals, in Jewish geometry, the United States of America. And so I'm interested because, you know, I think that we are more of a Marduk RA kind of a nation, although we do have ISIS. I feel like they're making fun of her, so I'm not sure which camp our forefathers were in, but it kind of makes me wonder, you know, I know that the Splendor serpent probably wouldn't be allowed in modern culture, but I wonder how close we came to having that on our dollar bill, since it's representative of Marduk RA. Very interesting, right? Mighty Mouse. You know, so these like Mighty Mouse, some of these other sayings and phrases here some of them are intentionally designed to match Marduk RA. So let's go back to the story here. Right here. Oh wait, I'm going to pause it and look up this iguanodon. Hold on. Alright, take a quick look at the iguanodon. Wow, you know, that looks so strong. I bet you it could pull something. Doesn't it just look buff? Oh wow, that could pull a lot. I mean, I think humans were bigger back then too. Bulky herbivores. I wonder if, you know how, like, I wonder if the iguanodon from its ancient times could have shrunk. You know, in Babylonian times it could have shrunk a little bit and been a little bit more, or they could have bred it, you know, the way that we breed animals. They could have bred it to be more useful for them. Strong but smaller. It has a prehensile tongue. Is that the tongue that could be used to gather food? Oh, he suggested. He doesn't know. Okay. Well, it does look like that in the Paris thing, doesn't it? Okay, let's go back to the story here.
Finally, the dragon, Sirius,
Finally,
is a
the
symbolic
dragon,
representation of
Sirius,
Marduk,
is
the
a
chief
symbolic
god of
representation of Marduk, the
Marduk's
chief god
original
of
character
Babylon.
is obscure, but he was
Marduk's
later
original
associated
character
with
is
water,
obscure, but he
vegetation,
was later
techniques,
associated with
magic.
water,
Since
vegetation,
representing powerful
judgment,
deities,
and magic. Representing powerful deities sent a powerful message to all who entered the Great Gate that Babylon was protected and defended by the gods, and one would be wise not to challenge it. Every spring, a great procession that included the king, members of his court, priests, and statues of the gods passed through the Ishtar Gate and along the processional way to the Akitu temple to celebrate the New Year's festival. The dazzling procession of the gods and goddesses, dressed in their finest seasonal attire, atop their bejeweled chariots began at the Kasi Killa, the main gate of the Sagala, a temple dedicated to Marduk, and proceeded north along Marduk's processional street through the Ishtar Gate, wrote Julie Bidmead, a professor at Chapman University, in her book The Akitu Festival, Religious Continuity and Royal Legitimation in Mesopotamia. The name Akatu is from the Sumerian for barley, originally marking 2 festivals celebrating the beginning of each of the 2 half-years of the Sumerian calendar, marking the sowing of barley in autumn and the cutting of barley in spring. In Babylonian religion it came to be dedicated to Marduk's victory over Tiamat. The Akatu festival was continued throughout the Seleucid period, 312-63 BC, and into the Roman Empire period. Roman Emperor Elagabalus, r. 218-222, who was of Syrian origin, even introduced the festival in Italy. A number of contemporary Near Eastern spring festivals still exist today. Iranians traditionally celebrate March 21st as Nowruz, New Day, while Kabi Nisan is the name of the spring festival celebrated among the Assyrians on April 1st.
I didn't know that about this. This is really close to the 322. And anyway, I wanted to kind of go back and look and see if I was wrong about the back feet, if they're actually claws. So I do want to go and look at that. But first, I have a few more numbers to show you. I really didn't find anything in here that was too amazing, but I just feel like since I looked them up, I can just become familiar with the numbers. The 320, the 372, and the 62 for Akitu. Marduk, 325, 408, and 68. This is the 14. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the Twin Towers. We looked at this one, and we looked at this one, and we looked at this one. All right, well, let's go take a quick look in Google Earth. All right, well, here we are, and I don't really see claws on the back feet, although, let me see, where did my drawing thing go? I don't know, I don't really want to change my drawing to fit this, but it is possible that this is what they're talking about. So I guess there's a few different ways to see this. I don't even see the other back foot, so maybe they didn't make it yet. But I want to look over here. I saw something while I was coming in. Okay. I was looking in here thinking, you know, those twins, like they went to so much trouble. There's got to be something else in here. And I was zooming down and I saw an ankh. And it has its hands up. Look at this. You guys are going to like this. I like to have a surprise at the end of the video, just to reward you for making it through the video, and this is actually a really honest surprise, but it's amazing that it's open at the top, isn't it? Because that is what I have seen about the brains lately that I've been finding in different places.
Ready?
Thank you.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm recording, sweetie.
Yes.
Thanks for cooking. I'll be right in. I'll be right in. I'm supposed to leave a shoe on the door when I'm recording, so I didn't do that. Okay, see the ankh? Pretty, right? Now we got to take a heading, right? Let's do this. What's the heading? Ankhs bestow like, oh look, there's an aquarium in here. I love aquariums. 50 degrees. That's your, I guess that would be your 5-pointed star raised a degree of magnitude. Let's go the other way. They have a workout place too. 231. And that's a 1, 2, 3. That's kind of a counting upward. So it's kind of growing. I guess that kind of matches with life. I know there's more here, so you guys stay tuned. I'm going to upload. I hopefully will have already uploaded by the time you see this. I will have uploaded a video that I did on Mad Max and how it relates to a current event, and how basically the current event was predicted in the gematria of Mad Max. Gematria is a very important skill to acquire if you're curious about these things. we can also just go on about our lives. I don't have the feeling that we need to struggle to understand all these things. I just feel like for me, it's interesting. It's interesting to have the tools to understand. It's interesting to pay attention. It makes me feel more excited about getting up each day when there's mysteries and there's something new to understand. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please come back and talk to you soon.